Howdy y'all, this is Jeff, and this is my little 2017 Plus Kia Soul, and this is a little walkthrough video on my stereo install. Now we'll start from the front. Power connection, battery, inline fuse. What I did here, very simply, I just carved out a little hole in the bottom of the box and a notch in the lid, allowing me to shut the cable into the factory box. I just have it coiled up around out of the way. I haven't bolted it down. There isn't really a good place for it, and it isn't really super necessary. But as you can see, I probably went overkill, didn't need to. Nobody else does, but I jacketed it in fiberglass insulation. You ever seen a wire burn up before? It does horrible things to carpet. Anyway, that's the battery connection. It drops down and punches through that very large rubber grommet you see here. That rubber grommet is easily big enough for 3 times the wiring that's currently going through it. So I just punched a hole through it with a drill bit, fed by 4-gauge power line through the hole. My factory radio, for several reasons. It already has a backup camera, it has satellite, it has MP3, or at least Bluetooth, so I can stream from my phone to the radio, which works very well. Don't have a thing to complain about with it, other than the wattage of the factory radio is extremely low. If I had to venture a guess, I wouldn't guess more than 7 or 8 watts continuous. That's why the stereos are anything but loud. Anyway, I wanted to keep it, and I did. So I pulled the dash faceplate off. I cut the speaker wire output from the radio. I soldered on wiring that runs from there out the side, through the carpet alongside the center console to the passenger seat, under the passenger seat area. I'll tell you more about that shortly. And the other end of the wire that fed into the speaker harness that went out to the doors, I soldered wire, actually I crimped wire from under the passenger seat into those output harness wires to send signal to all the doors. So I didn't have to rewire all the doors. Rewiring doors is no fun. So that's why I kept the factory radio. Okay, passenger seat area. Under the passenger seat is my amplifier. I went with the Pioneer GMD 9605 5-channel amplifier. It provides 75 watts RMS to each door and provides a 600 watt subwoofer output. The wiring for this amplifier, like I mentioned earlier, you may be able to see it in the video, that blue cabling, that's called speed wire. Speed wire has 9 wires inside each half of it. 8 are for speaker signal, 1 is a continuous power feed to turn amplifiers on and off if you need it. The benefit of the Pioneer amplifier is that it's signal sensing. So when your radio sends signal out to your speakers, the amplifier detects it automatically and turns on your amplifier. So I did not need to tap into that 12-volt auxiliary power wire that's included inside the speed wire. You see I have 2 runs of the blue. One is to take signal from the stereo to the amp, and the other is to take output from the amp back into the factory harness behind the dash. I pulled that blue wire under the carpet, under the center console. It travels underneath the carpet, and it comes up behind this removable panel, and I was able to find a hole that I fed the 2 blue wires into the stereo cavity to do the connection. From behind the passenger seat, you can see the amplifier a little better. I forgot to take the plastic wrap off of it. There we go. I have all the wiring encased in black loom harness to keep everything together. The brown wire you see there is to the subwoofer box in the back. This open wire right there is what they call a bass knob. And bass knobs are pretty much junk science, and you don't really want to use one. If it was simply a subwoofer volume control, it would be great, but it is not. It is a bass boost, and bass boost is fake news. Okay, so the subs and the cargo hatch. These are Pioneer 10-inch subwoofers and a Trend 10-inch dual-ported subwoofer box. They take up a good chunk of the cargo box. As you can see, I've only got about maybe 6 inches per side left. And as far as height, it just clears the hatchback. For my purposes, there are a lot of other boxes on the market that are maybe less obtrusive, but this is my commuter car, and that's legitimately all I use it for. So I found this plastic tray that I wrapped in some foam and zip tied it down so it wouldn't mar the plastic tailgate panel. And my wife can use that to throw bags of groceries in or whatever we might want to do. And plus you have the whole back seat, so no big deal. She isn't thrilled, but for subwoofers I'll do it anyway. Thump, thump, thump. What you can't see is inside each one of the 4 doors. I went with Rockford Fosgate 6.5-inch two-way coaxial. I think it's like the RX 1752, something like that. It's at Crutchfield. They're about $35-40 a pair. Pretty affordable. I am very impressed at the output these speakers are capable of. They're only rated for like 40-45 watts RMS, and that Pioneer amplifier is giving them 75 watts, and they actually scream beyond my liking. So I had to dial the gain back a little bit on the amplifier so they weren't so ear-bleedingly loud. Anyway, I would turn it on for you and crank it up, but anybody who's ever tried to do that before knows how bad amplified sound is in a cell phone recording. But I'll let you see some rear view mirror shake just because. I'm sure that sounded horrible. But anyway, that's a little walkthrough on my self-installed, 100% self-installed DIY stereo upgrade. It's been challenging, and I'm super glad it's done, and everything works, and I don't have to pay anyone else to do it. That is awesome. That allowed me to blow some money on hardware that I otherwise wouldn't have. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to message me in Messenger. You know how to find me on Kia Soul Group. Jeff out.